What's up, guys? It's Ashley Mountaintops back again. We are in the second week of July already, right in the middle of the dead zone, as I like to say, because there's been no news at all. But definitely not dead and super ready to work on 2027 draft class here. Jeremy, how you doing tonight, man?
I am doing fantastic. I am hanging in there about as best we can during the dead zone of what it is, the NFL offseason. And I'm looking forward to less than 9 more weeks of NFL football until NFL football.
Yeah, man, I can't believe it. Crazy. I know the teams are going to be coming back here shortly for camps and stuff. So
Yep.
I don't know the exact date or anything, but I know it's coming soon, and that's when we start to get some real news. So I'm excited for that for sure. Today, usually we talk about news. There is none, so we're not going to worry about that. We're going to focus pretty much exclusively, since it is the dead zone of the NFL season, on 2027 draft prospects to watch in 2026. Most of these guys you're going to want to pay attention to, especially if you're in you have more than the usual amount of picks in 2027. Even in the second and third round, we could be talking about these guys for 2 hours. In my eyes, so we'll definitely talk about that. We got a player profile back this week. Tucker Kraft, very interesting guy for us. And you just had a trade, which we'll talk about later, with my wife, which is pretty funny. That I helped facilitate, so you're welcome on that. But and last but certainly not least, we always like to play a little bit of games whenever it's a dead zone or the slow time. So we're gonna do a KTC, keep trade cut, however you want to say it. So we're gonna get started here. Unless you had something you wanted to say before we talk about this insane class of the 2027 class we've been talking about for over 2 years now.
No, I'm ready to talk about some 2027 class, man. Let's hop to it.
Beautiful. So we're going to start out here. I do want to let people know most of these players are ranked. They are ranked by Draft Sharks, one of those rankings websites that I like to use. So shout out to them. Thank you. First off, we have the QBs. 3 out of the top 10 overall are QBs. 6 total in the top 2 rounds, which is top 24. 2026 class, before we get started on the 2026 class was supposed to be great, but first off, poor play by some seniors, which was obviously Aller, Nussmeier, and Klubnik, who all did get drafted and got drafted in pretty good spots, to be honest with you. But the main reason that the 27 class, especially the quarterbacks, is going to be so good is because underclassmen stayed. Dante Moore, Arch Manning, Lenore Sellers, you could go on and on. Sam Levitt, these were all players that were being talked about highly that decided to end up staying. So we're going to start out with the number 2 overall prospect here. As of right now, this is obviously preseason, so I'm sure this will shake up at some point or another. Arch Manning out of Texas. Yes, this is Peyton and Eli's nephew, if you have been sleeping under a rock. College career, patient in 2024 behind Quinn Ewers. He did start 1 or 2 games while Ewers was hurt. Tough start in 2025, but rebounded to finish strong. He played Ohio State, which is probably the best defense in the country at that point, and only got better from there. Did you have anything you wanted to say before I can kind of continue?
No, if we're looking into it, I'm a big comparison guy, and it kind of helps me paint a picture of what kind of prospect I'm going to be looking at and the comparisons of which. And so for Arch Manning, the biggest comparison I'm seeing a lot of across the board is with Justin Herbert. It's comparing his size and his frame. Justin Herbert's a 225, 6'4" frame. He got that above average plus arm cannon strength that stands out amongst the other prospects. And he got himself a nice high physical ceiling paired with surprising openness at his field speed. So I like that comp the most, comparing him to Justin Herbert, and I want to see it blossom into this upcoming year.
Yeah, no, I love that comparison. I'm a big Justin Herbert fan, but the main reason that I like that is because Herbert is kind of like a Manning with wheels, right? He's pretty precise. He's a pretty accurate passer, but can actually move, and that's what Arch is. So I love that comparison.
Well said, yeah.
He also gets a number one wide receiver this year in Cam Coleman. We're going to talk about him in just a little bit in the wide receiver section. But we'll see what those two can do together. He's a junior, 6'4", 219 pounds. Arch Manning is. In his 2025 stats, 3,163 yards passing, 27th in the country. 26 touchdowns, which was tied 17th in the country, had 7 interceptions. 78 QBR, 17th in the country as well. He also, like you said, he did a little bit of rushing. When we do rushing stats for quarterbacks, they are also including sacks. I hate that. Everyone hates it, but that's what they do. So 92 carries overall, 399 yards, and 10 touchdowns. The thing that I see there is 10 touchdowns running the football.
The 10 touchdowns stands out, and you got to keep in mind the sacks are in play here. So, yeah, you're looking at 399 yards. He's in the surplus. There's some of these quarterbacks that never crack that surplus because the sack numbers count, or the numbers are so abysmal that you can't count them as a rushing quarterback at all. I think he's in the ballpark median in regards to rushing yards at this point just because of the way those sacks are in play. But to be flirting with 400 yards rushing and, like you said, 10 touchdowns, that to me is decent stats for someone going into his junior year.
Absolutely. So I could talk about Arch Manning for probably 15 minutes. We're not going to. I'm super excited for this prospect, and I think he's probably the number one quarterback coming out, but we shall see. There's a lot of people saying that the number 3 overall in this pre-season ranking system here, Dante Moore out of Oregon, thought to be the number 2 overall pick this year, but went back to Oregon for one more year. I'm assuming to win the national championship with his Oregon Ducks, or he just didn't want to be a Jet. One of the two, we're not sure. But he came back after the Ducks already brought in a legitimate starter in Dylan Raiola from Nebraska. It's going to be interesting to see what that dynamic is, because how do you keep that Dylan Raiola off the field? We'll see what happens there. But Dante Moore, he's a junior, 6'3", 206 pounds. 2025 stats real quick. 3,565 yards, tied to 12th. 30 touchdowns, tied 6th in the country, with only 10 interceptions. So a 3-to-1 ratio. That's pretty good. And then a 78.5 QBR, 15th in the country. And that's in the Big Ten, where they play defense pretty well as well. So what do you got for me on Dante Moore?
Yeah, Dante Moore is probably my favorite quarterback as of July 14th. My favorite quarterback in this quarterback class. I think Arch Manning is an exceptional talent. I think the name is helping him in regards to that talent. It's also going to help him on the field in regards to genetics. But nevertheless, I like Dante Moore a lot coming out of Oregon. The comparisons that I'm seeing is they're comparing a lot of his impeccable smoothness, his efficiency, and his effortless release, comparatively like the Jordan Love or CJ Stroud. He has that elite field vision. He's exceptional rhythm passing. He has a very smooth stroke. He's one of the more smoothest passers, if not the smoothest passer in this upcoming class. From what I've been seeing, and credit to Todd McShay for the CJ Stroud, but yes, CJ Stroud definitely is a comparison that I've seen across the board in regards to his vision and his rhythm passing.
Well, hopefully it's his rookie year, CJ Stroud, and not what we've seen in the last couple of years. But I do agree. I think it's pretty close to that as well. And I like that comparison. You said CJ Stroud and Jordan Love.
His quarterback coach, Leon Avery, was the one that came out and indicated that, he has a lot of similarities to Jordan Love. So I wanted to give credit to that comparison as well. But yeah, Jordan Love and CJ Stroud.
Yeah, not too shabby there. Two good quarterbacks. So, like I said, everyone expected him to be the number 2 overall pick this year in the 26th draft, and obviously that didn't happen. Next up, we have Julian Sayin, Ohio State quarterback. Most people probably know of him already. He had wide receivers, 2 really good wide receivers in Jeremiah Smith, who we will talk about him in just a few minutes, and Cornell Tate, who was the consensus number 3 overall pick in most Dynasty Superflex drafts. as his two leading receivers in 2025. He's a junior, 6'1", 208 pounds, 2025 stats. 3,610 yards passing, 10th in the nation, 301 completions to 391 pass attempts, 77% completion percentage. And I didn't say the completion percentage for anybody else because that's insane. 3 out of 4, better than 3 out of 4 of his passes were completed. That's insane. 32 touchdowns, 4th in the country, only 8 interceptions, so a 4-to-1 ratio there. Quick math, thank you. And 88.4 QBR, the 3rd in the country. Now, let's not get it twisted. He is playing for Ohio State. They were dominant pretty much all year. So that definitely does help. But Julian's saying he has been good since he stepped on the field. I'd love to hear what you got for us.
If there's going to be somebody that keeps Dante Moore running, it's going to be saying. Just saying. And that's going to be a joke that I beat to death, so get used to it. I think he's very lethal, high IQ pocket distributor. I'll say it, as I heard it very vaguely, but I'll say it. Joe Burrow. He's so masterful inside the pocket with navigation and the overall game and QB knowledge. He keeps his eyes glued downfield. He maneuvers interior pressure very well. He delivers striking resemblance to Joe Burrow the way he throws the ball. So I'm gonna go on a limb here and say that there is some Joe Burrow type tendencies coming out of Julian Sayin, but we'll see exactly how that develops in this upcoming year.
So most people saying that, I would be a little shocked because Joe Burrow is on that echelon, right? You saying that is even more shocking because of how much you put not Joe Burrow on a pedestal, but Joe Burrow on a pedestal, right? I mean,
no, I get it. No, Joe Burrow's arguably my favorite quarterback in the league behind Matthew Stafford. So I mean, I do speak high praise of Joe Burrow. Is Julian Sayin the next Joe Burrow? Absolutely not. Is Julian Sayin remind me of a Joe Burrow in regards to his QB knowledge and the way that he is such a masterful mind inside the pocket? Yes. And only a little bit more time is only going to help define that craft.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't hurt that, again, those wide receivers that he gets to play with are absolutely ridiculous.
Correct.
So that's going to make him look a lot better, too.
If you give the carpenter the exceptional tools, he will do an exceptional job.
And then just 3 more quarterbacks outside the top 10 that we wanted to talk about here. Briefly, number 12 overall, Norris Sellers, South Carolina. Again, he was one of those guys who was supposedly coming out and then had a rough year with South Carolina. I thought he was going to transfer. I would have loved to see him transfer to a bigger school or a better school than South Carolina was giving him, but he didn't. He's one of my favorite prospects coming out just because of his ability, especially fantasy-wise, his ability to run is arguably the best in the class. So watch out for him. Darian Mensah, who is in now the Miami Hurricanes. So Beck, 3rd-round pick, not too bad, has a shot with Arizona. Year before that, Cam Ward, number 1 overall pick. I would keep an eye on Mensah because he's playing in Miami. That's pretty much the most simple way I have. And then CJ Carr out of Notre Dame, same thing. It's just the factory for the NFL. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish are. So, and he has some weapons up there as well. So, any of these 3 kind of pique your eye or pique your interest at all?
No, I think they are very valid names for you to bring up, but I think this is definitely a quarterback class that has a very, I don't want to say top-heavy prospects, but, I mean, let's get real here. The top 3 quarterbacks we talked about are the top 5 prospects in the nation, and we have a solid break until 12th. There's a solid break there for a reason. It's not necessarily just the talent amongst the non-quarterback players, but it's also the talents of Sellers, Mensah, and Carr.
Yeah, if there's one player that I think can jump into the top 7, top 5, it is Sellers, just because if South Carolina can actually play football this year for a change and he stays healthy, his wheels are going to attract a lot of fans, especially once he hits the combine in fantasy. So that's the one that I kind of want to keep an eye on. Running backs, there's 2 in the top 10 and then 6 total, but we're going to focus on those 2. Number 7 overall, Kawan Lacey out of Ole Miss. We heard his name a lot in this run that Ole Miss had to go to the semifinals of the national championship. But he's a junior, 5'11", 200 pounds. 2025 stats were 306 carries, first in the nation. 1,567 yards, third in the nation. 24 touchdowns, second in the nation. I wonder why he's the top running back prospect. Receiving, he had 29 receiving yards, 177 yards. So not too much there, but incredible numbers for a running back. Top three in all three of the categories that I focus on the most. Attempts, yards, touchdowns. So that's pretty good there. Receiving could use a little bit of work, but that's all. That's the only issue that I saw. And he has the same quarterback coming back this year in Trinidad Chambliss, who we'll mention a little bit later as well.
Lacey has that lean physical build matched with explosive home run capabilities. He's as that upright gliding run style compared to like a Brees Hall. He has a long stride length that accelerates dramatically in when he gets deep into run situations. Lacey's obviously going to be a 3-down bell cow back, frequently comparing to a Brees Hall type workload that he's going to get, and maybe even up to the echelons of a Bijan Robinson type workload with that ultimate creative instinct that he has in the IQ in an open field.
That is high praise because he was the number one running back in his class coming out. And Kenneth Walker was in that class as well, so not too shabby there. Jaden Ball, I think that's how you say his name. I apologize if I'm wrong. Out of Florida. Obviously, I haven't heard too much of him previously to the little look-up I did here, but he's a junior, 6'1", 231 pounds. 2025 stats, 220 carries, 17th in the country, 1,170 yards, 19th, and 8 touchdowns, tied 80th. So not so great on the touchdown front, but everything else top 20 for a Florida team that wasn't very good. So Jaden Bowell, definitely an interesting prospect. Also 33 receptions on 210 yards, 2 touchdowns in addition to that. So ended up with 10 touchdowns overall. So that's not too shabby in 13 games or however many they play now in college. So what you got for us?
No, I don't think it's too shabby at all, especially considering some of the comps that I was just seeing online here. But the one I enjoyed the most was some of draft guides is Ramondre Stevenson. He's a true heavy-set, short yardage thumper type back who is also a bell cow, in my opinion, who has bell cow capabilities. But he also doubles as an elite asset in a passing game. With like you mentioned, he had 30 some catches last season alone. So I mean, those are impressive numbers when you have the way that the running backs have developed into the pros nowadays. Having those running backs that can run the ball and catch out of the backfield, it gives you massive volume as a runner.
Yeah, and right now he's 231. What is he going to be mid-season? Especially next year in the NFL. You're going to be pushing 240, 245, I'm thinking, and you can catch. There's not many running backs that can do both of those. So I think this is more of a projection for the player rather than what we saw so far. But a lot of people are expecting a lot from him. So 4 more names to definitely know. I was shocked this guy wasn't in the top 10, Ahmad Hardy. I've heard about him for a year and a half now. I do have friends that are from Missouri, so that might be the reason why. But also, I heard him being talked about with Quan Lacey as the 2 top backs. So when I saw Jaden Bowell, I was a little surprised by that. But definitely a guy who could easily jump in to that top 8 as well. I don't know who you take out there. That's the problem. But Ahmad Hardy out of Missouri should be having a great year. Isaac Brown out of Louisville had a nice year last year. Going to have a good year this year, we expect as well. Mark Fletcher out of Miami. A lot of people forget his name because Malachi Toney, who took everything over, it seems like, all the headlines over as a true freshman. But Mark Fletcher is the running back there in Miami who should be pretty good, 19 overall. Isaac Brown was 18 overall, excuse me. We're going to go to the wide receivers, and boy, oh boy. We got 5 out of the top 10 is in this position. 10 total wide receivers that we want to pay attention to. And trust me, there's more than that. So first off, we're going to start out with the number one overall prospect. Basically, since he was a freshman, we've been talking about this guy. Jeremiah Smith out of Ohio State has been NFL ready since stepping on the field as a freshman, pretty much. Everyone's been talking about him. One of the best prospects in recent years. He's a junior, 6'3", 223 pounds, 2025 stats, 87 receptions, 7th in the country, 1,243 yards, 4th in the country, 12 touchdowns, tied 6th in the country. And he's a sophomore. He will be a junior this year. And, man, I cannot wait to see what he can do in the NFL. This is a guy who reminds me a lot about the hype when Calvin Johnson was coming out. The hype that when Marvin Harrison was coming out, right? Like, he looks the part. He's shown it for 2 years. This is the year that you need the 101 because this guy could be a game changer. Jamar Chase type level already talking about. So I know you don't like that hype too fast, but after what I've been watching for 2 years, I can't get unexcited about this kid. So what do you got for us?
No, I'm a full support of the hype on this kid. When the talent's there, the talent's there. You mentioned the names of Calvin Johnson and Jamar Chase. So that hype right there alone is a great comp. I think this far exceeds Marv Harrison. I think this is definitely in the Jamar Chase and Calvin Johnson eras in regards to hype and respectability. He has that explosive, violent burst off the line of scrimmage. He has this effortless, smooth play style regarding his massive frame. Like you see, what did you say, 6'3", he's like 223, 225. And that's now, like you said, not playing time. God only knows what he bulks up to presently, who knows what he's at. But despite that massive frame, everything looks just so fluid. Everything's so controlled and never rushed. But the comp that I would give is Calvin Johnson. I agree with one that you mentioned, as well as Todd McShay. Todd McShay mentioned it, and I was like, okay, that's a little extreme. But the more that I was looking into it, and the more that I'm looking at the X receivers and the predator profile of this is, not that I was sleeping on Jeremiah until today, but like looking into these, he has that catch radius that is just off the charts. He has athletic traits that are hard to compare to actual modern day wide receivers because the potential there is off the charts. Looking very much forward to seeing where he lands. But that's down the road. I'm looking forward to seeing exactly what he can do this year with the spotlights on him.
So we talked about only the 2025 stats for him. This is sickening, right? He was in top 10 and everything in 2025. He had a better year his freshman year. 76.
Right. That's insane. And that's just showing the ball sprinting around. And what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do now with Sayan having more time under his belt? What are we gonna do with Sayan having a little bit more time under his belt with the system, with working with Smith and everything in between, the experience that these two are gaining? It's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Ohio State fans are gonna be spoiled this season.
I mean, they're spoiled every season with the wide receivers they get. Let's not get that twisted, but this is the guy. Like, this was the best one out of that crop, and that's saying something with all the names that came through there in the last 4 or 5 years, for sure. Again, this is a guy we could talk about forever. He is absolutely – you say Calvin Johnson is the comp. I say his prospect – the prospect of him coming into the NFL is like Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson, in my opinion, is the best receiver to ever play a game. So to say that already is scary. I digress. We're going to go to the number 2 wide receiver. Number 4 overall. I talked about him a little bit earlier with Arch Manning. Cam Coleman out of Texas. Transferred from Auburn this past transfer window or whatever you want to call it in January. He's a junior, 6'3", 201 pounds. 2025 stats were a little lacking. He did play for Auburn. Let's not forget that. 56 receptions, 87th overall, 708 yards, 104th, 5 touchdowns, tied for 106th. So nothing to write home about there. But when you watch the kid on the field, I listened to a lot of podcasts that were talking about 2027 last year, and some guys who to watch for, and he was one of them, even in Auburn, because they expected him to go somewhere bigger. Well, you don't get much bigger than Arch Manning in Texas, right? So we'll see what absolutely happens there. The poor QB play and team was really why I think those numbers happened, to be blunt. I'm expecting a lot out of Cam Coleman this year, and I love the number 4. I think it's a little high right now, but I think with him and Arch being able to play together, they're probably going to elevate each other.
Well said. I can't really sum it up any better than that. I think when you have the talent playing with one another, they're going to feed off each other, and they're going to gel greatly. I think the numbers are going to speak for themselves. But no, Coleman is one of the most explosive vertical threats in the country, in my opinion. Frequently, I frequently would compare him to target monsters like, say, Julio Jones, D-Hop, these kind of guys. But let's go with a little bit more of a current time. I'm going to go George Pickens. George Pickens, it's just like George Pickens without the temperament, if you will. He has that on the field physical play, and he has that run after catch situations that he is never down, never out, and his spectacular his spectacular catch rating would be through the charts as well. So I like the George Pickens comps as well, but I do think he's going to be a target monster, and I do think Jeremiah Smith's going to overshadow him in the wrong ways, because I think Coleman is one hell of a talent coming out of this.
Yeah, like I believe that, like we said, they're going to elevate each other, and that's kind of why he's number 4 prospect right now, because he got out of a rough situation in Auburn. Brian Wesco out of Clemson, excuse me, number 6 overall, 3rd wide receiver. He was injured in 2025 with his back. One of the reasons that Clemson did not have as good of a season as they were anticipating, being front runners preseason to win the national championship, and then barely making. I think they played in the Pinstripe Bowl against Penn State, which is not one of the better bowls. Injured. He only played 6 games. He's a junior this year, 6'2", 185 pounds. So a little bit on the skinny side. Hopefully they're able to bulk him up a little bit to be able to play in coverage there. 2025 stats in 6 games now: 31 receptions, 537 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Not too bad for only 6 games. So someone to definitely watch for. I apologize. I don't know who the quarterback is in Clemson. This is like the first time in 10 years I don't know who the quarterback is now. But it's going to be a brand new guy because Cade Klubnik's in the NFL.
One of the comps that I saw the most on here, and the one I like a lot for Wesco, is Nico Collins. Very fluid, long strider, manipulates leverage by dropping low. I think the Nico Collins comp fits him very well. He has that same exact frame. He's the physical blueprints, and that 6'1", 6'2", that 195-poundish. And that frame does find success in the league. So I went with Nico Collins.
I love that comp, actually. I haven't seen much of Wesco because of only playing 6 games last year, but I can see what you're saying there for sure. I'm excited to watch them this year, though. Absolutely. Hopefully Clemson's back to their normal form and to make the ACC a little bit better. Hopefully. We shall see. So number 4 wide receiver, number 9 overall. That's insane. Charlie Becker out of Indiana, the national champion. He is a national champion.
He is a national champion, yes.
He was a little overshadowed by Surratt and Cooper. However, a lot of people are saying he might be the best prospect out of the 3. And Cooper went in the first round. So we'll see what happens there. But number 9 ranked for Draft Sharks. But he's a junior, 6'4", 204 pounds. Big dude. I 2025 stats: 34 receptions, 679 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Again, he was a little overshadowed by Cooper and Surratt to make those numbers a little bit smaller. So I'm excited to see what Charlie Becker has. I was hearing a lot about him at the end of the season through the run of the national championship win that they had, and a lot of hype over this offseason. So we'll see what happens with Charlie Becker here this year.
Yeah, Charlie Becker, from what I was reading, doing a lot of this, clocked in at 22.5 mile an hour in one of his tests. So that's and that was GPS timed speed as well, 22.5 mile an hour speed. So having that transfer into the NFL is going to be lethal. On that note, I think a blueprint match is Alec Pierce of the Indianapolis Colts, a linear vertical boundary threat with excessive catch radius, back shoulder timing, high profile elite traits across the board. In my opinion, he has the frame as well. I believe you said 6'4", 207. Fantastic. He's the perfect catch radius for the size and ability he has. I'm going with Alec Pierce as my comp.
Do not let the Chargers get this guy. I'm already saying it now. Just don't let that happen, NFL, please. Or do if I get him on my fantasy team. That's fine. I'd be happy with that. But if he's not on my fantasy team, don't let the San Diego Chargers get him, or wherever Mike McDaniel's going to be next year in 2027. So he screams Mike McDaniel to me.
I didn't even think about it until right now, and now that's all I see.
Yeah.
That's literally the only spot I see him going now. That's the Chargers.
Right.
Oh, man.
So it's really funny because his teammate now, Nick Marsh, is actually ranked number 10 right behind him. So Indiana got 2 good wide receivers coming out again next year. This one, cover your ears, Jeremy. This one, however, transferred to Indiana from Michigan State.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, understandable.
I'm sorry. But I've heard of Nick Marsh for when he was in Michigan State, too, and he is a stud. He's a junior, 6'3", 203 pounds, 2025 stats. Again, this is Michigan State. Rough year last year, as you know. 59 receptions, 662 yards, and 6 touchdowns. But him going to Indiana, and being teamed up with Charlie Becker, I think is going to really help him out as well. What you got for us?
Yeah, he's probably my favorite yak wide receiver in this class, at least as of now. He has that smooth moving boundary type weapon that has that long speed, high bowling tracking. I'm going to comp him to a Chris Godwin. He's that exceptional body shielding over the middle of the field. He has great physical temperament in traffic. I think Chris Godwin's a very fair comp, especially when, again, I want to reiterate that he's probably one of the best yards after catch runners in this class.
I love that comp. That might be one of my favorite comp that I didn't think of when you were talking about it. That's a really good call. Chris Godwin, hopefully he's not as injury prone as Chris Godwin, but yeah, that's a great call.
And no hard feelings on the Michigan State aspect. I mean, he gave them 2 years and gave them as much time as they possibly can. They're not a program right now that's generating football. Their football program has suffered once D'Antonio left, and we'll see exactly how they can get rebounded here. But no, I appreciate your efforts, Mr. Marsh, for your time with Michigan State, but I wish you adieu.
So is he going to be one of your favorites because he was a Michigan State guy?
I don't want to say that he's one of my favorites because he's a Michigan State guy, but he's definitely one that I'm more comfortable knowing about and talking about because he is a Michigan State guy, because I'm a little bit more familiar with him because he's a Michigan State guy. So I wish him the best of luck and kind of rooting for him, if you will. So does this have the blossomings of him being, quote, my guy? Very possible. But we'll see exactly how it goes, because I do have no hard feelings with him departing from that program.
Love it. Number 16 overall, which is the first one we're not going to outside the top 10 here. So it takes a little bit of a dip. Who originally last year when they were when they came in as freshmen, he was supposed to be the number 2. Ryan Coleman Williams out of Alabama. And then Jerry Bernard just took over Alabama basically last year, and Ryan Williams didn't have a great season, so he's kind of fallen a little bit. I have a feeling he has a chance to move up as well. Again, don't ask me who falls, but Alabama wide receiver, typically pretty good.
Well said, yeah.
So keep your eye on Ryan Coleman Williams. Number 17, TJ Moore, Clemson wide receiver as well. So Clemson got 2 wide receivers in the top 20 there, or top 7, I guess, prospects wide receiver wise.
TJ Moore definitely gives me T. Higgins vibes. I don't know if it's the Clemson relation. I don't know if it's the size and stature, powering a long limb perimeter type weapon. He gives me T. Higgins vibes, and I do love me some T. So TJ Moore is definitely one to keep an eye on, at least for myself, in this upcoming year.
And I think this means that DJ Moore has to retire because that's going to be way too difficult to understand, to hear. Because I swear I thought you said DJ Moore, and I was like, wait, what? We're not talking about him. So just kidding. KJ Duff out of Rutgers, number 20 prospect. 21, Mario Craver out of Texas A&M. And then 23 is Isaiah Satanga?
Yeah.
The third out of Oklahoma. I love his quarterback, so I'm kind of rooting for him. In Mateer, who we'll talk about in just a second, in the others receiving votes category, I guess. But there are so many wide receivers. These are only the top 10. You could probably do a whole first round and a half with wide receivers and be happy, to be 100% honest with you. Now, again, this is preseason. Injuries, problems, someone doesn't step up like we thought, things will happen. But right now, the wide receiver class is super exciting to pay attention to. Tight ends, we got 2 total, none in the top 10, so we're just going to kind of hit them real quick here. Number 15 overall, Trey'Dez Green out of LSU. And number 22 overall, Jamari Johnson out of Oregon. Oregon seems to always have a tight end, so that one makes sense to me. I'm expecting a Penn State tight end to show up here at some point too, just because they always have one as well, kind of deal. So
keep an eye out for Trey'Dez Green as well. He's one of the dude is 6'7", 242 pounds. So like that is staggering. And if you're going to be a tight end built like that, you are just absolutely screaming red zone target. So I know that Green played LSU basketball for a little bit too before he committed to the Tigers football. He kind of gives me Dalton Kincaid vibes. Heavy slot heavy receiving weapon. Very elite in his field. So yeah, Trey'Dez Green. He's 15th in the nation overall. He's probably one of the top tight end prospects, and rightfully so. Keep an eye on him.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you. I didn't know too much about him, so thanks for bringing him up there. Also, there's a few potential names that you might want to know as well. Obviously, most people know about Trinidad Chambliss because he almost came to the NFL, but he got an extra year eligibility from the NCAA through the court system. So he's the quarterback out of Ole Miss. Ryan Wingo, Texas wide receiver, another Texas wide receiver. Justice Haynes out of Georgia Tech from Michigan last year. Georgia Tech likes to run the ball, so you're going to hear his name a lot, I'm sure. Drew Mestemaker out of Oklahoma State. I believe he was in North Texas last year as their quarterback, and he ended up going to Oklahoma State, who, I mean, their program is absolutely falling apart, so hopefully he'll be able to fix that. LJ Martin, running back out of BYU. Josh Hoover, Indiana quarterback, who's going to have those two number 9, number 10 prospects in Becker and Marsh. So he's probably going to elevate as well, just with the talent around him. Jaden Mayava, I'm messing these names up, I apologize. USC quarterback, Cam Cook, West Virginia running back. I saw him play a couple times live and absolutely loved watching him play. He's going to be fun. Sam Levitt, LSU quarterback, who was the one who was throwing to Tyson when Tyson was actually healthy, Jordan Tyson, in Arizona State. So keep an eye on him. He was projected to be a much higher pick in this year's draft. So definitely want to watch him, especially at LSU. And then John Mateer, who a lot of people had as the Heisman Trophy favorite early in the season out of Oklahoma, the Oklahoma quarterback. Before he got hurt, when he came back, he wasn't fully back to his normal self. I expect a lot of things out of him as well. He's a little bit lower than I anticipated, but he might be one that shoots up the board as well. Any of these guys or anyone else that you know of that you wanted to discuss?
No, I think you've done a cleanup rather well here. Names that they all are legitimate in their own special way, in their own special positions, and see how this year develops.
I love it. Man, I am stoked, and I've said this so many times for the 2027 draft class. I don't think I've been more excited for a draft class. Now, we are semi-new to Dynasty. I've been doing it for, I think this is my 5th year. But this is by far the best class I have seen, or gotten excited for, I should say. So, super pumped. We went through 33 names here, and you could name another 15 to 20 guys. Like, your 4th round is actually going to matter in this draft if it stays the same way. Again, I have to reiterate, there are going to be names that fall off the cliff. There are going to be a couple names that do come back, that do show up out of nowhere. So just be ready for that. But these are the names to definitely pay attention to if you are a college football fan and like to watch college football, but are a Dynasty owner as well. Want to make sure you pay attention to these guys. So absolutely love doing this part. And we're going to revisit this every so often throughout the regular season as well, to kind of see where the names are, who's moving up, who's moving down, things like that. So pretty excited for that. To get you ready for 2027, since it is such a big year for our drafting in Dynasty. Next up, we got our player profile. Tucker Kraft, Green Bay Packer, tight end, measurable 6'5", 259 pounds, 25 years old. He's only 25 years old. 2023 third-round pick 78. He was the second tight end taken by his team out of South Dakota State. He's been in the league now for 3 years. 2023 played every single game, split time mostly with Luke Musgrave until Musgrave got hurt week 11, and then kind of took the job and ran with it. Never gave it back. In 2024, began the year as the starter, as I said, never gave it back. 50 receptions, 707 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Solidified himself as a top tight end in fantasy and really in the NFL as well, I feel like. And then in 2025, injured in week 9, ACL injury, which took him out the rest of the season. Hopefully he'll be ready for the season. But prior to the injury, was recognized as a top fantasy option, was actually ranked number 1, I believe, 1 or 2. I don't know if McBride was there yet or not, in fantasy points per game or overall, however you want to say it. He was the number 1 tight end at that moment. And then he got injured, unfortunately, kind of ruined the rest of that season. So for him, 32 receptions, 489 yards, and 6 touchdowns, and that was in 9 weeks. Before I kind of keep spouting off about a guy I absolutely love watching play the game, what is your outlook? What do you got for us?
Tucker Kraft, in my opinion, is a buy high or buy low, whatever you want to consider him presently. He's a buy in general. Yeah. Despite the torn ACL, like you mentioned, short cut in week 9, he's fully on track to be back 100% for a full go for week 1 in the 2026 season. He's currently being valued around tight end 5, tight end 6 range. And that is the only time you're going to be able to acquire him, in my opinion. I think once he comes back and he shows that he's 100%, this price to him is going to skyrocket once again. So I think now, if you are a Kraft believer, which I am, now is the time to buy him because, again, I think if he comes back to his full potential, he's going to be untouchable in regards to price-wise.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about your trade in a minute, but just to let you know, I don't know if you knew this or not, I actually drafted Tucker Kraft in the golf league, which we're going to talk about later, and I only traded him. I would have only traded him for 2 players, McBride or Bowers, and Bowers was one of the ones that I got in a massive package that I had to give, and one of the key pieces was Tucker Kraft. I absolutely love Tucker Kraft. Think he is the third best tight end in football. I know there's two young guys who have something to say about that in Loveland and Warren, but man, he reminds me a lot of Bowers and McBride, to be 100% honest with you. He's just a massive human being who has so much athleticism and can catch everything. So, I'm a huge fan. Could be the number one option for Jordan Love. The Packers decreased their target tree. Romeo Doubs is now a Patriot. Dontavian Wicks is now an Eagle, which kind of opens it up for three guys, maybe four if you want to include Matthew Golden. I don't, so I won't. Three guys to really get the target share there. And then other injury-prone receivers, and Christian Watson has not played a full season yet. Jaden Reed, always injured last year and his entire career. Sorry again, Michigan State. I'm not talking highly of them. I apologize. Undersized as well. And then, like I said, Matthew Golden unproven, so who knows. So easily could be the number one option for Jordan Love, who we both think is a good quarterback in a run game that Josh Jacobs is really good but hasn't been hurt in a long time. And interesting offseason, we'll just say that. Really interested in Tucker Kraft, especially if he's able to come back like it sounds like from this ACL before the season starts.
Yeah, that's what I'm reading. And then to me, I don't think it's a woulda, coulda, shoulda. I think it's a matter of time before he is the wide receiver one for the Green Bay Packers. I think he picks up right where he left off, getting about that 14 to 16 points per game fantasy wise, getting that 2.5 yards per route run. I think he's going to be back in full form.
Absolutely. We're going to have a KTC with him in a little bit. But before we do that, we're going to do a little bit or talk a little bit about his dynasty value. This is all based off a keep trade cut. Tight end 5, tier 3, between Tyler Warren and Harold Fannin. That rookie class last year, basically, the 25 rookie class. And then 35 overall, tier 9, between Bo Nix and Jonathan Taylor. I was surprised to hear that. These are the other names that are right around there as well. Jalen Hurts, James Cook, Cornell Tate, and George Pickens. I say Cornell Tate just because we haven't seen it, and all these other guys are uber proven, if that makes sense. But him being talked about, coming off an ACL injury and still being talked about in the same breath as a Nix, a Hurts, a Cook, a Pickens, who was top 5 wide receiver last year, Jonathan Taylor, who is all do everything for the Colts. Like, impressive, right? Like, his stock did not fall at all, it seems like.
No, I agree. At least if you are paying attention to the offseason, his stock didn't fall. Some individuals could potentially feel that the ACL is going to be damning on his career. Some individuals are taking the ACL and comparing it to other past ACLs and looking at it, it's an automatic value dump, it's an automatic statistical dump. Tucker Kraft is his own animal, and the way that a passing game is formatted allows not only Tucker Kraft to retain a lot of receptions, but attain a lot of yak yards. And that, to me, is, in a nutshell, what makes a fantasy tight end elite.
Absolutely. And then real quick, I know it's a little bit late to be talking about 2026 picks, but they're talking 101 to 105. Me personally, I would not give up the 101 for him, 102 and everything else probably. Future pick value, 2027, early to mid first. I'm more towards the later part of the first round, but that's just me because I love this class. Some people would probably do a mid or early as well. I don't know about early. The top 4 picks should be pretty locked in, but mid to late is where I was kind of thinking. What do you believe?
I think you nailed it on the head. Until we kind of get a little bit of dust settling on this 2026 class, and we have a little bit of dust settling on the way that this 2027 class is going to fall. I think you nailed it in regards to where he's at for both draft class draft values.
So let's talk about your trade. Do you want to go ahead and set this up for us since it is yours?
Yeah, this is our golf league. The We Can't Golf League. You hear it referred to as the Golf League a lot. It's a league. It's one of 2 leagues I'm in with Mickey. Last year I was I got the team, but I was real young and I was on the cusp of the playoffs, and I kind of bailed a little quick, in my opinion. I think if I would have put my pedal to the metal, I would have made the playoffs. But it's another story for another day. Nevertheless, I realized it was right on the bubble, and I wanted to get myself a little bit of depth, and I felt that the depth. I'm a big depth fan, so I felt the depth was needed. For quarterbacks, I have Jackson Dart and Bo Nix and JJ McCarthy. I was upset. I'm a little concerned of Bo Nix's ankle. I know the reports are coming out somewhat positive, but it's a re-injured ankle. It's a refractured ankle. The ankle does scare me, and with me only having technically two quarterbacks, Jackson Dart and Bo Nix, I can't count JJ McCarthy because Skyler Murray's going to steal his job. I needed another quarterback. Looking around, I found the trade actually started by me pursuing Jared Goff from your wife because I wanted to get some quarterback depth. And then looking over her team, seeing that she had some tight end depth and seeing she had Tucker Kraft available, it was worth an ask to see exactly what kind of realm she was in on Tucker Kraft. Fortunately for her, unfortunately for me, she was in the mind frame of Tucker Kraft's value remaining the same, and his value did not diminish at all due to the injury. So I had to play that out, and I had to orchestra the trade for Jared Goff and both Tucker Kraft at Tucker Kraft's reasonable value. So the trade ended up being Jared Goff and Tucker Kraft to me for JJ McCarthy, wide receiver Roma Dunze, tight end Terrence Ferguson, and my 2027 second round pick.
Yeah. So for her making this trade, she realized that she was kind of far away. She had maybe 4-5 players that were startable on a good team, and you just took two of them. So JJ McCarthy and Terrence Ferguson being not getting many points, not really being a factor this year, but could be a factor in the future. JJ McCarthy being a top 15 pick in his draft, right. 2024. So it made sense for her. Rome Odunze young enough in that same draft in 2024, where yes, he's good now, but he'll also be good in the future and have a long trajectory. So it made sense for her. And then in 2027 that she doesn't have much of because she went for 2024. She went for the whole thing, took third place, sold a lot of draft capital early. So getting some 2027 draft capital back was nice as well. Just to explain her side, because I kind of worked with her on this. She is new to Dynasty. So that's where her mentality was. If I'm going to lose these two players, I got 2-3 left, and they're probably going to be on the trade block soon. Jamar Chase, Jalen Hurts, and I think Rome was the other one who was the one that actually was what mattered. So I guess she only had 4. And Sam Laporta, I'm sorry. Which is why you can get rid of a Tucker Kraft, because you do have Sam Laporta who
correct
hasn't been the same as her rookie year, but has still been pretty good when he's on the field. So there's that as well. So just to give you a full explanation of it, I guess, of the trade. So that's what both sides were kind of thinking of. I thought it made 100% sense for both temes. Obviously, you knew what Jeremy was trying to do. He's trying to win now. He's not going to because my team's the best, obviously. But no, I'm just kidding. But it also opens up Nikki to be able to sell 2 pieces that she may be able to get a lot of capital for, if she chooses to. Of course, in Hurts and Jamar Chase. So we shall see what happens there down the road, and I'll keep tabs on that for you guys. But yeah, anything else you wanted to say about the trade?
No, I think it was a fair trade for both things. They accomplished what I wanted to. It gave me some depth at tight end and quarterback, and it gave her some longevity in regards to J.J. McCarthy, Terrence Ferguson, and that second-round pick. And then Roma Dunze is immediate to help now because she does need players to start, but if she wanted to flip him immediately, she could. I think it was a good trade for both sides, and both sides accomplished what they were trying to do.
Yeah, it made sense, absolutely. This is the kind of trade that I love. Someone knowing that they're not ready, so getting players that either are going to be good soon or getting picks or a combination, and getting rid of 2 of their better players. That one is older, one tough to lose, but you do have a second tight end there that is also legitimate. Like I said, Sam Laporta. So I thought this was a great trade. This is a dynasty trade, full on dynasty trade. One's ready, one's not. Let's switch them. I have an older player. Let's make a deal. This is the kind of trade that makes a lot of sense. So with that, we're going to jump into KTC, and we're going to start with two of those players I just named. Tucker Kraft, Sam Laporta, Kyle Pitts. You tell me. Keep, trade, cut.
All right, I'm going to go keep Tucker Kraft for the reasons of why I just preached, of why I traded for Tucker Kraft. I have the ACL injury behind me with this evaluation, as well as Tucker Kraft, in my opinion. So I'm going to go with the average, the tight end averaging 14.7 PPR points per game before tearing that ACL, and Tucker Kraft I'm keeping. I'm trading Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts I'm trading because he has shown at the absolute top. He had the best season of his career last season. I have a quarterback uncertainty and shakiness in Atlanta with Tua and Penix. Penix not being 100%, Tua never being 100%. So I have a little bit of shakiness in Atlanta. Kyle Pitts, again, finally showcased what he was able to do in 2025. Let's move him while he's hot. In a literal keep, trade, cut scenario, somebody has to be cut. I'm cutting Sam Laporta only for two instances. One, his back injuries are incredibly tough. Back injuries are tough on tight ends because of the run blocking that they have to do, and obviously football is a high-contact sport. Secondly, the amount of volume that is happening in Detroit. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jameson Williams, Isaac Tessel in the red zone. Sam Laporta is just another mouth and a very long chain of command. So in my opinion, Sam Laporta is the odd man out in this situation.
So I didn't think this was going to happen, but we are exactly the same. I did it a little bit differently, though. I knew Sam Laporta was the third in my eyes, so I cut him first. And then I look at Tucker Kraft and Kyle Pitts, and I'm like, splitting hairs at this point. I have them so close, it's insane. But I give the nod to Tucker Kraft because I think he can be the number one on his team. Kyle Pitts says Drake London. That's honestly the difference for me. Next up, we got DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin, and Ricky Pearsall. We got prime, old, and young that hasn't been proven yet. So where are we going with this one?
All right, this one might surprise you a little bit here, but I'm gonna go keep Ricky Pearsall, trade DJ Moore, cut Scary Terry. Let me elaborate here. And I keep trade cut scenario. Terry, in my opinion, between these three is the asset to cut. He turns 31 this season. He's at the absolute bottom of the tree. There's long-term dynasty value of the curve amongst these three wide receivers. He's still incredibly productive. But he did have last season where he missed half the season, if not longer, for injuries. And again, that is starting to catch up to him. DJ Moore, I'm going to trade because Moore's value is experienced a massive spike following his trade to the Buffalo Bills. Catching passes from Josh Allen sounds nice, in my opinion, but Moore is now entering age 29 and showing some declining, in my opinion, already in this past few years. I'm trading DJ Moore on the name and the Josh Allen affiliation there. So that leaves me Ricky Pearsall. In my opinion, he holds the most insulated value out of these three. He's 25, and he has the best draft capital out of these three. He has flashed legitimate wide receiver one upside before he had his injury. We have Mike Evans and George Kittle both in there, but they're on the wrong side of the age curve and on the wrong side of the injury spectrum. And Brandon Ayuk is gone. He's not coming back. Let's get real. He's not coming back. He's locked into long-term focal point, and he has a great foundational build right now with Brock Purdy.
So you mentioned Brandon Ayuk, and I think it's really interesting. I didn't think about this until now. He's unlocking – basically, Brandon Ayuk is the one who's unlocking Ricky Pearsall and could absolutely handicap Terry McLaurin if he gets his way. I think that's
that's a very good piece together you did.
So for me, I think Ricky is the trade. So let me ask you this question, and then I'll answer the question. If it wasn't keep, trade, cut, and it was start, sit, cut, or start, sit, drop, Would it still be Ricky Pearsall's start?
I think it'd be Scary Terry.
Oh, okay. So it
Yeah,
would Derry.
if I'm starting week one, it's Scary Terry. But if I'm looking for the longevity thing, Scary Terry's the one I'm going to cut. I think Scary Terry's going to be there week one. I don't like Scary Terry being there week 4, week 5, week 7, week 8.
Okay, that makes sense. Because when I looked at it, I immediately was like, all right, Ricky's probably the trade because he's the only young piece, and I don't like unproven players. I don't think he's that proven yet. DJ Moore, I'm pumped for. We've talked enough about DJ Moore for everyone to know how pumped I am for him. And then Terry McLaurin is 31, 31, somewhere around there. So I'm okay cutting him. Obviously, don't cut him. But I'm okay cutting him.
That's a disclaimer that needs to be said. That doesn't need to be said, but yes, anybody that me and Nikki are saying to cut, we're not saying to cut, but we are given these hard truths and scenarios at which we have to cut these individuals. I am never saying cut Terry McLaurin.
And the other piece of that is Jaden Daniels has been healthy for less than half of his career. Now, granted, it's only 2 years, but the way he runs is terrifying. Terry is his only weapon, and Terry's had injury concerns. Jaden Daniels has injury concerns. It's just a mess that I don't really want a part of when I have an option of Ricky Pearsall or DJ Moore, mainly DJ Moore. And Ricky Pearsall is just much younger than the other two. So, running backs, we got Breece Hall, Trevion Henderson, and Chase Brown. 3 names I never thought I'd say together in a keep trade cut.
This one was a little bit tough here. But I want actual asset, not my actual heart. My heart obviously leads into the Cincinnati Bengals, but for that reason, I'm going to cut Chase Brown. In this keep trade cut scenario, somebody has to be cut. In this case, I'm cutting Brown. Despite him hitting his career high values and his career high numbers last year, he's already surpassed 26 years old. He has not had yet a contract agreement or longevity built into the Cincinnati Bengals front. Furthermore, the Cincinnati Bengals are known for their passing game. The Joe Burrow, the T. Higgins, and the Jamar Chases. You can even throw in Mike Gesicki in there. And even Eric All, that rookie tight end, is starting to get a little momentum coming out of camp. So we'll see how that develops as well. But the Cincinnati Bengals are a pass team. Chase Brown is a fantastic asset. He is a fantastic talent, one I would love to have on my fantasy team. But if in the cut situation, I'm cutting Chase Brown here. That leaves me Breece Hall and Trevion Henderson. I'm trading Trevion Henderson right now based on pure hype. Henderson flashed major upside during his rookie year, but struggled to separate from Stevenson, in my opinion, well into the playoffs and even into the Super Bowl. Stevenson was still getting some ball carrying over Henderson, and the volumes were there as well. And Trevion Henderson is definitely a hot name and one that has future written all over him, rightfully so. So I'm going to use that as into my element and trade Trevion Henderson. And let's me at Breece Hall, who I'm keeping. His calls value has settled a little bit in more reasonable buying range now that he's had the injury. And he has his massive 3-year now contract. It shows that he's going to be on the Jets now for the next 3 years. His touchdown efficiency took a step back last year. He remains, in my opinion, the complete pass-catching workhorse, and he's just 25 years old. And I think he's the safest structural asset out of these 3, so I'm keeping him.
I like it. I think Chase Brown is the cut here. I would actually trade Breece Hall. I think there's more trade value there now. And keep Trevion Henderson because I believe this is going to be a similar Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery situation where David Montgomery was the focal point the first year. The second year, Gibbs ate in about maybe a quarter of the way through the season. And I think an injury might have had something to do with that. But I do believe that this is going to be similar to the Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery flip. And once it flips, it's never going back. And Ramondre is not David Montgomery. Not saying that Trevion Henderson is Jahmyr Gibbs, who I think is the best running back in the NFL. But I do see the similarities in that. So because of that, I would want to keep Trevion Henderson, and yes, maybe take a hit this year, but in the future be even further ahead than a Breece Hall owner would be. Next up, we have Jackson Dart, Trevor Lawrence, and Jalen Hurts. We're going to go a little bit quicker on these next few and then probably jump out of here. Okay.
Sounds good.
So yeah, we got Dart, T-Law, and Hertz.
Keeping T-Law, he represents the ultimate blend of production, in my opinion. Security, elite insulation. He finished 2025 on an absolute tear. He locked into high-end profile the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he has a massive contract. He's expected to get a massive contract extension. He's the future franchise quarterback. He is 26 years old, so he offers, in my opinion, about a 10-year dynasty window. He shows the mobile quarterback element without taking on the significant injuries that a mobile quarterback has already taken on. That leads me to Jackson Dart. Everyone here knows that I'm a massive Jackson Dart fan. So in this situation, in this particular instance with these three individuals, I am trading Jackson Dart. This is a textbook sell high on rookie hype window. He's mobile. He's young. He's on a high-powered offense and with a fresh new face in John Harbaugh. He's free, and he has that first-round draft pick capital that's always going to be attached to him. But with the way the market is and the aggressive it is, he's worth the trade. Now, I know that makes you a little bit angry here, but Jalen Hurts is going to be my cut. And again, do not mistake a cut rolling with dropping him the waiver wire. He's still a premier dynasty quarterback. However, I'm looking at this and looking at these three situations. If your team is not a lock to win the championship this season, Hurts is the asset with the most fragile valuation of the trio, in my opinion, over the next 2 years. We don't know how the push is going to be valued. We don't know how the new Philadelphia Eagles are going to be established. We don't know exactly what's going to be around him. Jackson Dart is on his rookie contract, and T-Law is about to sign his full-blown extension at 26. I just like this longevity behind T-Law, and I like the trade value behind Jackson Dart.
I respect it. I hate it, but I respect it. For me, this would be a keep, trade, because I would want to trade Jackson Dart and Trevor Lawrence both. Very easily, because I think T-Law's hype is almost as high as it was when he was coming into the league. I believe, and Jackson Dart's is probably even higher than that right now.
I agree.
But if I can only trade one of them, I'm probably trading Trevor Lawrence. And the reason I say that, and I am a Jackson Dart fan as well, we both called he was going to be good. The way that they locked him or let him run amok terrifies me, just like Jaden Daniels. I think he's a better passer than people were giving him credit for. He didn't have Malik Neighbors except for a half, basically. So I can't believe these are three of my favorite quarterbacks in the NFL, by the way. Let's just say that. I can't cut Jalen Hurts because he's been a top 5 fantasy asset quarterback-wise for his entire career, basically. And I don't think that's going to slow down with the loss of A.J. Brown. I think it's actually going to get better because of the young stud that they drafted as well. So I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm cutting Dart and keeping Hurts and trading T-Law. Call it bias, call it whatever you want. I don't really care. I love all three of these quarterbacks equally, basically. Jalen Hurts a little bit more probably, but very, very close to me. This was probably the hardest one for me, simply because Jackson Dart is so young, but I can see him only playing 3 years and being done because of like how much he runs and how insane he doesn't want to go out of bounds, which I love, but him and Scotty might get killed on the field because of how they run.
Concussion brothers.
Like, unbelievable. I love watching both of them, but it is scary to watch if you love watching this guy and hope he plays for 15 years. T-Law, pretty comfortable that he's going to play for 15 years, to be honest with you. And then Jalen Hurts, I want to get as much as I can right now because I don't think either of the other two get to his level where he's at right now. So that's the way I'll look at it. But all three of these guys, you could mix and match and I'd be okay, to be honest with you. I love all three of them.
All right, now we'll do rapid fire.
Yeah, that one, That one was the last one that I was like,
we had to give our quarterback. We had to give the quarterbacks love. Each position's been touched base with. Now let's rapid fire. Let's go.
All right, let's go. We got Ashton Genty, Jeremiah Love, and Devon Achane. Let's rapid fire this one. Go for it.
Genty, trading Jeremiah Love, cutting Devon Achane.
Oh, we are very different. Keeping Achane, trading Genty, cutting Love.
Oh, wow, we are very different.
Well, I mean, Love's unproven. Genty, I believe in. And there's a ton of hype with him. And then Devon Achane, I think, is the third best running back in the NFL. So I think all three are from the same class. So that's why we have it that way. But we are very different on that one. So I like that. Tedero McMillan, Emeka Egbuka, and Malik Neighbors.
I am keeping Egbuka, trading Tet, cutting Neighbors. At this very moment, I am looking at the three. Neighbors is by far, without a shadow of a doubt, the biggest blunder and biggest issue out of these three wide receivers. I'm cutting him almost immediately out of these three. Egbuka, in my opinion, is going into a year where he is going to be in a Z slot and he is going to feast. And Ted McMillan, I'm trading on a fantastic year that he had.
So this one's very similar to the first one that we did, where I knew I was cutting Emeka Egbuka immediately. I like Emeka Egbuka, but his second half of the year scared me. And the other two guys, when they're on the field, I don't think they've had bad games, really. Ted McMillan, I would be trading because the hype on him is higher than Malik Neighbors, but I consider them very close. And keeping Malik Neighbors because I think he does come back. And as long as Jackson Dart's going to be healthy and his quarterback, they're going to be in good shape. So, again, a little bit of difference. We're switching this up a little bit this time.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Derrick Henry, Javonte Williams, and Bucky Irving.
I'm going in reverse order. I'm keeping Bucky Irving, I'm trading Javonte Williams, and I'm cutting Derrick Henry. And again, if I'm looking at this in a dynasty scenario, all the time is going to catch up with Derrick Henry. It might catch up to him now. It might catch up to him in 6 years, but it's still going to catch up to him faster than it's going to catch up to Javonte and Bucky Irving. And the two, Bucky Irving, I think, is just the more – he's 23 years old and coming off highly efficient campaigns where Javonte Williams was selling at age 26 at peak value off a contract extension.
Yeah, I think we're both keeping Bucky. I think that's pretty obvious. After what I said about Javonte Williams last year, I'll eat my words, but I'm still cutting him because I feel like there are some people you just should never say you will cut, and Derrick Henry's one of them. So I'll trade him. Probably not getting to get much for him, and that was probably the wrong move, but I can't cut Derrick Henry. Just flat out for what he's done for football in the running back position. Jaden Daniels, Joe Burrow, and Justin Herbert. Got a feeling I know where this one's going.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Hey, I did the same thing, so I get it.
Okay, all right. So I am keeping Joe Burrow. I am trading Justin Herbert, and I am cutting Jaden Daniels. I am looking at these three. I understand Jaden Daniels is only 25. He's the youngest out of the three, but he comes with injury history. Now, I know Joe Burrow does as well, but Joe Burrow comes with superior weapons, superior pocket presence, IQ of the game, and experience in overall aspects. So that's why I'm keeping Joe Burrow over Jaden Daniels. And Justin Herbert, he's rebounded magnificently in 2025. He offers an incredibly long 10-year career window because he is behind these two, in my opinion, in fantasy stealing. I'm cutting him.
So don't hate me, but
I know where this is going. That's fine. Yeah. I did all these with my head. This one I went with my heart. Let me go.
I get it. Jaden Daniels is going to be the trade because I want no part of him, but I want his asset.
Well said. That's the cleanest as you can say it. Perfect.
I think Justin Herbert's one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL, just like Joe Burrow, but he is younger, and I'm ecstatic to see what he does with Mike McDaniels. Even if it's for 1 year. Even if it's for 1 year.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
Because of those two being kind of locked, almost any other quarterback except for probably Drake May or Josh Allen, we're going to have to be cut. So Joe Burrow is an unbelievable quarterback when he's healthy. But there is a caveat to what I just said, right? And I think that's the difference between him and Justin Herbert. Even though Herbert's a little bit younger as well, I don't think it's as close, or I think it's closer than most people will realize. But I think is just about to take off. Now, don't cut any of these players. Don't trade any of these players unless you get massive value. This is a disclaimer.
I think this needs to be our last one. This one's good.
Jamar Chase, Puka Nacua, and Jackson Smith and Jig.
This one's a monster. A monster. This one took me about 20 minutes.
Most people say these are the three best assets for wide receivers. I don't agree.
That's why.
But
you don't agree.
I do not agree because they're forgetting one or two players, but I'm okay. And we can talk about that if you want real quick too, but I've shown them my rankings.
After careful consideration, I am keeping Jamar Chase, I am trading JSN, and I am cutting Puka Nacua.
Interesting.
Make no mistake, Puka Nacua is a game-wrecking superstar. I understand this. However, looking at a multi-year view, Matthew Stafford's late career window poses a distinct quarterback sustainability question, in my opinion, that Chase and JSN do not face. JSN kind of faces it with Sam Darnold. Jamar Chase, as long as he is a Cincinnati Bengal, he is going to have Joe Burrow, his collegiate quarterback, throwing him the ball. So looking at this as a dynasty window, that was the only thing. I'm not taking the off-the-field antics into consideration because that is blown over like no others. And to be honest with you, when I'm looking at this, I'm distinctly looking at sheer talent and skill set. It hurts me to cut Puka Nacua, but in a situation, I have to cut him. Trading JSN situation, just like I am with Jackson Dart, I'm selling high on a massive peak window. Seattle's facing minor target volume regression concerns, and defensive coordinators prioritizing locking JSN down. His market's unmatched. Trading JSN away will allow you to secure established elite to your asset in return or multiple first-round picks because you're selling him again on a massive peak window off of a Super Bowl championship window. Jamar Chase, where we stand, in my opinion, is the best wide receiver in the league, has potential to be the best wide receiver ever. I think I agree with you on Calvin Johnson. I think Jamar Chase has the capabilities of being the one that has the ability to be the next best, in my opinion. I am never letting that go. I'm never trading that away. I'm never cutting that away. So Jamar Chase, he's the absolute peak of safety, production, long-term installation, and fantasy football. He's top 10 point per game production every single year. And as long as he's tied to Joe Burrow, he is wide receiver one, in my opinion.
Okay. I 100% agree with everything you said in the order. The easiest thing to say about this is JSN has only done it 1 year. The other two have done it multiple. I trade him while the iron is hot. And I don't think Sam Darnold as the quarterback is great, and he's probably the third best quarterback out of these three quarterbacks, right? Pretty simple to say that. But also, JSN had an insane target share that cannot be continued. If it's continued, it'll be insane. So I trade JSN while it is probably the highest value you're ever going to get for him. Jamar Chase, I've been a Jamar Chase hater for a long time, only because I like Justin Jefferson better and I think he is better. You keep Jamar Chase in this realm because he is tied to Joe Burrow. Puka Nacua is not tied to Matthew Stafford. And that's as simple as you can make it. I definitely, if it was like order of ranking wise, I have JSN third in this because he's only done it 1 year. Puka's done it his entire career. Jamar Chase has done it pretty much all the time in his career. So, or been darn close to it.
Yes.
So, yeah, and there's very few other players that you can really put in these three and it even be close, right? I would say, in my opinion, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, and maybe Drake London, and that's it. Would be in their realm.
And I honestly think I would take Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, or Drake London over JSN.
Me too. That's what I was kind of saying. Where I have Jefferson 1, Chase 2, and then it is like a super close for the other three of the top.
Right. Unrankable.
Super close there it's a tier basically, and then there's JSN 6. I think is how I have it. So, but these are the top three right now in KTC wide receivers. So I wanted to put them all together. But we're kind of on the same page where we think it's a little bit different because we like to see it more than 1 year. But if you're giving me a chance to trade JSN right now for what his value is right now, 100% out of 100 out of 100 times, I'm going to do it because I just see so much potential in the other two that it makes more sense. So we are going to close up shop here. This might have been a longer podcast, to be honest, so I apologize for that. But I'm too excited for the 2027 class. We talked for 40 minutes, of course.
If you're still here, you enjoyed the show. So thank you for sticking with us. And thanks for listening. This was a fun one.
Yeah, appreciate that as well. Yeah, absolutely. Next week, we're going to have a lot of fun. Another little draft here, mock draft, but it's only going to be the last 3 years. So we're going to take the last 3 years and redraft with those 3 years only. So that's going to be 2024, which is the 6th quarterback class. 2025, Cam Ward's year. I think he was the number 1 overall pick. And then Fernando Mendoza, obviously, this past draft class that just happened in 2026. So we will see what happens next week. I'm sure there's going to be some surprises because we like people differently, obviously, as we've seen in Keep Trade Cut. Anything else you want to say before we head out, though?
No, man. I think this was a fun pod. We were able to piece a lot together, a lot of things, hopefully we're able to answer some questions for our listeners in regards to who to listen for and who to look out for 2027. I know it answered some of the questions for me doing my research and investigation for the pod. So I appreciate you as listeners listening and absorbing the content that you like to provide to you.
Perfect. And for Jeremy, I'm Mickey. This has been Dynasty for the Mountaintops. Check us out on Podbean, YouTube, and Apple. Our socials at dynastymttops on Blue Sky or X. And email us, dynastymttops@gmail.com for any comments, show ideas. What did you think about the podcast? Are there any other names that you would put into the 2027 class? Are there Keep Trade Cuts that you completely disagreed with or agreed with? Let us know. Again, for Jeremy, I'm Mickey. This was Dynasty of the Mountaintops. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you next week.
Rock and roll, baby.